All right, welcome to part 4. We're going to do questions 31 through 40 in this problem. So let's start with question number 31. What type of fallacy is shown with after getting new dishes, I started to sneeze? I therefore must be allergic to new dishes. Okay? Well, obviously on this one we're going to say it's a false cause because what happens is we can't just assume the cause is the issue, and so you have to kind of have some other conclusions besides that. Could be just getting the new dishes at the same time, just happened to cause that. So that is a false cause. All right, number 32, determine whether this statement is a proposition. Okay, not all flowers are roses. Okay, and basically what we have then is kind of that, okay, so we have a statement that says not all flowers are roses, so that is a proposition. It's very easy to see that what is the conclusion, okay? So we have this proposition, not all flowers are roses, which is a kind of statement that can be proven true or false. That's a proposition. Determine whether this statement is a proposition. Do you like this color? And because you can't prove that as true or false, it's not really a proposition. Okay, it's not like we can come to a conclusion saying, yes, this is the color you like. We have to say, something would be like, blue is a color everyone loves. That would be a proposition, something we could prove true or false. All right, choose the negation of this proposition. Susie lives in a greenhouse. Okay, so the negation of this is that she does not live in the greenhouse. Okay, so Susie lives in a blue house would not be that negation. Billy, we're bringing a different person, that doesn't. So Susan does not live in a greenhouse. All right, so C is the correct answer. And if you look at D, Susie does not live in a house that is not green. Because we're doing not there, that actually throws that off. So that is incorrect as well. All right, number 35. We're going to choose a truth table for P or Q. Now remember, the letters P and Q represent a proposition. So the idea behind a truth table is, remember that you have to know about, it's all about the Boolean operations. So in this case, it's that or, okay? So we have to know that or means if one or the other is true, then my proposition must be true, okay? So TT, so that's good. TF, that's good. We have a T, TF, that's good, and then FF. So that actually happens to be A is the correct answer. Okay, but let's just verify. Notice that TTF, that one's not correct because one of those is true. One of those is true, so that's not correct. That should actually be true. And I can actually press that off. That should actually be, so this one is actually everything's false on that. Those are all wrong. This one is good. That one's not. That one's not. That one's good. Okay, because one true in either of them means that that's true. One true in either of those means that that one should be true as well. So that's actually false. So that's wrong. One of those is true, so that's true is good. And then one of those are, neither of those are true, so this one should be a false. So that's wrong. So notice we had 2 wrong on there, 2 right. All of those have to be correct for this proposition. So notice that all of those were correct on A, so that's why we know that 35 is A is the correct answer. All right, 36, choose a truth table for R and S. Now notice what we're looking for is and. Now remember, that one is the Boolean operation, that's the focus, okay? So if we're looking for and, our question should be, we want to find where both are true. If both are true, then my answer should be true. If either one is false or both are false, then my answer should be false. So that's what that Boolean operation means. So those are both true and that's true, so good. Okay, one of those is false, so that is actually good because you want to be false. One of those is false, so that's good, and both are false, so that actually happens to be our correct answer again, so A. Both of those are true, so it should be true. And one of those is false, so this should be a false. And one of those is false, so this should be a false. So actually that's correct, and that's correct as well, because both are false wouldn't be a false. So true, true, true is what should say here. True, false, false is what it should say here. False, true, false is what it should say there. And false, false, false is what it should say there. True, true, true is actually correct. True, false, true is actually incorrect because it should be a false since one of those is false. False, true, false is actually correct. And false, false, true is actually incorrect. So that's how we can find out on A. Now, number 37 is not on the answer key, and then actually you'll notice that that's why it'll throw that off for the rest of them, okay? So I will stick with what is given to us in this problem, but realize that that's going forward. That's why that has that issue. Okay, so we want P or Q or not R. So here's P, here's Q, here's P or Q, and once again, this is done correctly. True, 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 false, true, false, true, 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 false. You might say, well, why do you have so many of these? It's because we're actually having to have all the options available. Notice all three are true. 2 trues and 1 false. 2 trues and 1 false. You have to consider every single possibility. That's why we have to have this many. You notice that for 2 conditions, we have 4 statements. For 3 conditions, we have 8 statements. If there's 1 condition, there's 2. And so if you think about it, it's raised to the power of 2, so let me just write that to the side. So if I have only 1 condition, there are 2 possibilities, true or false. If I have 2 conditions, there are 4 possibilities, true, 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 false, false, true, false, false. So we're looking at all 4 of those possibilities. If there are 3 conditions, we'll have 8 possibilities. As you can see, here are the 8 possibilities. And it's just kind of, all of them are true, 1 of them's false, 1 true, false, true, false, true, 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 false, 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 true, false, true, false. So that's, we're just considering all the options, all 8 possibilities. So P or Q is developed off that, and then not R, we just negate that. So if it's a true, it's a false. It's a false, it's a true. It's a true, it's a false. Just negate it. So now what we want to do is we want to do this combination. We want to say an OR, and using this row and this, this column and this column. So if I have one or the other being true, the answer will be true. So true, false, this will be true. So this one is incorrect, and all of those. So we've already narrowed out A, so that's not correct. And I can just scratch that out. Okay, let's go on. True, true, true. Okay, and good. Everyone's still in the game. True, false, this should be a true. Okay, nope, not you. B, we're out. So, you know, if you will. Oh, and look, D's out. So we already know the answer. It's going to have to be C, but let's just verify. True, false should be a true. Good. True, true, true. False, false. So that's one's going to be false because remember, neither one are true. And actually, that actually was good. So we'll put a check mark. True, true, true. Yep. And false, true, true. Good. So C is my correct answer, and so I can come down and circle C. All right. Let's go ahead and scroll down and we'll go to 38. Nope, not too far. There we go. All right. Consider the following conditional statement. If the sun shines, they will bask. Okay? The inverse of this conditional statement, I'm sorry, I'm looking at, I was looking at 39. I apologize. Let me do 38. If P is true, Q is false. Okay? And if R is false, which of the following is true? Okay? So what we know is P is true, Q is false. Okay, which of the following is true? Okay, and R is also false. Okay, so let's put this in. P or Q, true or false, so this would be a true, and R. R is false, so the answer to this one would be a false. Okay, P or not Q would be a true, P would be a true, so true or true would be a true, and R. R is F, and remember F, when we're looking for and, they both have to be true, and so this one is actually a false. So we still haven't found our answer. P is true, or Q is false, and not R. Not R would be a true, since it's... Now in here we have false and true, so the answer to that, because it's an and, is a false. A true or a false, that actually happens to be a true. So this one actually would probably be our correct answer, but let's just verify with this last one. P happens to be true, and Q happens to be false, and R happens to be false. Well, false and false will be a false. true and false will actually happen to be a false as well, because remember, you both have to be true to be true. And so those three are false and that one's true. Okay. Number 39. This is the one I started earlier. If the sun shines, they will bask. The inverse of this conditional statement is, if they bask, then the sun shines. Okay? If they do not bask, then the sun does not shine. Okay? If they do not bask, then the sun shines. So this one right here, let's start at the top. Okay, this is the converse, and that's not what we're looking for. That's where you switch the two. Okay? If they do not bask, then the sun does not shine. Okay, so notice we're negating both of them and flipping them, so that's actually what we call the contrapositive. If they do not bask, then the sun shines. Okay, so we're negating the second one, not the first one. So therefore that's, actually we didn't talk about that one, so let's move on. If the sun does not shine, they will not bask. Okay, so notice that this one is the inverse because we're negating the first statement and negating the second one. So D is the inverse. Okay, and let's look at 40. Oops, put that wrong. Okay, so on 40 it says, consider the following conditional statement. If the alarm beeps every 30 seconds, then you have to replace the battery. So we're looking for the converse of the statement. Remember, that's where we flip the situations, where if you had to replace the battery, then the alarm beeps every 30 seconds. Okay, so if you have to replace the batteries, we're good so far, then the alarm does not beep. Okay, well that throws it out, that's not a converse, because we can't negate it. If the alarm does not beep, okay, well we know that one's out because we have to take the end statement proposition first. If you do not have to replace the battery, well, once again, we negated it, can't do that. If you have to replace the battery, good so far, then the alarm beeps every 30 seconds. There we go, that's the one we want. That's the converse, where we just switch the two. That's all it is, okay. A little short. Okay, anyway, that's up through question 40. So go ahead and head to part 5 to see the last 10 questions in this quiz, practice exam.